Hey guys, tonight we are stepping into the steamy, jasmine-scented haze of a 17th-century Ottoman bathhouse, where the air's thick with warmth and the echo of trickling water. You're barefoot on smooth marble, the glow of oil lamps dancing on tiled walls, about to unravel the sleepy routines of a hammam in its bustling prime. This isn't a tale of sultans or battles, just the soothing hum of daily life, from scrubs to gossip. Fair warning, you might not survive the hypnotic drip of water and warm steam, but let's try. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Drop a comment with your city and local time. I'm curious where you're drifting off from. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You're in Istanbul, 1650, just before dawn, as the bathhouse doors creak open. The city's waking, minarets silhouetted against a pink sky, and you're slipping into a hammam, a social hub where Ottomans cleanse, chat, and unwind. The mainstream fact is that hammams were central to Ottoman urban life, serving as communal spaces for hygiene, socializing, and even business by the 17th century. You're standing in the entrance, the air already warm, the scent of soap and wet stone wrapping around you like a hug. The bathhouse is quiet yet, but you hear attendants shuffling in the shadows, stoking fires to heat the water. There's a quirky tidbit. Some hammams had a resident cat, believed to keep evil spirits at bay while munching on stray crumbs. You spot a tabby slinking past, and you chuckle, thinking, hope it's on pest control duty. Historians still argue whether hammams were primarily for cleanliness or served deeper social roles, like matchmaking or deal-making. Either way, you're drawn to the steam rising from the inner rooms. You're shedding your sandals, wrapping a cotton pestimal towel around you, ready to step deeper. The marbles cool underfoot, but the air's warming fast, promising a day of rituals that'll make you forget the outside world. You're wondering who'll show up first, the chatty merchants or the early rising mothers. The bathhouse feels alive, its walls holding centuries of stories. The soft drip of water and the faint crackle of a fire are lulling you already. Let's slip into this steamy world and see what the day brings. You're gliding deeper into the Ottoman bathhouse, the air growing thicker with steam as you step from the cool entrance into a domed chamber that feels like a warm, tiled embrace. The scent of wet marble and faint rosewater curls around you, and the soft echo of dripping water bounces off intricate mosaics. You're here to explore the hammam's architecture, the heart of its steamy magic, where every curve and tile is designed to cradle the daily routines of 17th century Istanbul. It's a masterpiece of function and beauty, and you're soaking it in. You're standing under a soaring dome, its star-shaped skylights letting in slivers of morning light that dance on the floor. The mainstream fact is that Ottoman hammams, by the 17th century, followed a standardized layout: a cool room, sukluk, for changing, a warm room, alk, for transitioning, and a hot room, skakulk, for the main bathing. This bathhouse, with its marble slabs and arched niches, is built to trap heat and steam, creating a microclimate that melts away the city's chaos. You run your hand along a tiled wall, cool despite the humidity, and marvel at the engineering. This is spa tech, 1650 style, you joke, dodging a stray water droplet. Here's a quirky tidbit. Some hammams had hidden pipes in the walls, channeling hot air to keep the marble toasty underfoot. You imagine an attendant bragging about underfloor heating like it's a new gadget. Historians still argue whether these designs were purely practical or meant to evoke a spiritual cleanse, with domes mimicking the heavens. Did the architects aim for divine vibes, Or were they just obsessed with keeping bathers cozy? You're moving through the warm room now, where the air's a gentle hug, preparing you for the hotter core. The walls are studded with geometric tiles, blue, green, red, each a tiny work of art. You notice small fountains in alcoves, their trickle a constant, sleepy rhythm. The hot room's ahead, its steam curling like a promise, but you're lingering, tracing a mosaic star with your finger. You think back to the entrance, the cat slinking past. This place is a machine for relaxation, every detail honed over centuries. You're starting to see why hammams were more than baths, they were sanctuaries. Now you're pausing at a marble bench, the stone warm against your skin. The dome's acoustics catch every sound, a distant laugh, a splash, making the space feel alive. You're wondering about the architects, maybe sipping coffee as they sketched these curves. Did they know their work would outlast empires? The steam's softening your thoughts, the lights glow lulling you. The bathhouse's warmth is a quiet invitation to stay, to sink deeper into its routines. Let's keep exploring this steamy heart. You're lingering in the steamy glow of the Ottoman bathhouse, the dome's soft light fading as you slip into the shadows of the pre-dawn hustle. The air's thick with the scent of burning wood and damp stone, and you're trailing a group of attendants, tough, wiry folks in simple tunics, as they scramble to prep the hammam for the day's bathers. Their footsteps echo on the marble, and you're diving into the gritty morning routines that keep this 17th-century Istanbul bathhouse humming, long before the first splash or gossip. You're behind an attendant, let's call him Yusuf, as he hauls a bundle of firewood to the furnace room, a cramped space tucked beneath the hot room. The mainstream fact is that Ottoman hammams relied on a complex system of underfloor furnaces and water tanks, tended by attendants who stoked fires and managed steam levels to maintain the perfect temperature. Yusuf's face is smudged with soot, and he's muttering about a late wood delivery. You wince as he stubs his toe on a pipe. Rough start, buddy, you joke, dodging a stray ember. Here's a quirky tidbit. Some attendants believe the furnace had a spirit, offering it a splash of rosewater to keep it happy and prevent breakdowns. You chuckle, picturing Yusuf sneaking a floral spritz, like he's pampering a grumpy dragon. Historians still argue whether these rituals were superstitious or a practical way to ensure workers stayed diligent. Did the rosewater trick motivate the crew, or was it just a quirky tradition? You're following Yusuf now, as he climbs to check the water tanks, his lantern casting wobbly shadows. Other attendants are scrubbing tiles with coarse brushes, their splashes rhythmic, almost meditative. The marble gleams, but you notice a stubborn stain, bet it's from yesterday's sherbet spill. The team's work is relentless. Sweep the floors, refill soap vats, light the lamps. You think back to the hammam's domed heart, its beauty built on this sweaty labor. These folks are the unsung gears of the bathhouse, and you're starting to respect their grind. Now you're in the cool room, where an attendant polishes brass faucets, their clink blending with the furnace's low roar. The air's fresher here, but the warmth's creeping in, promising a steamy day. You're wondering about Yusuf's life. Does he dream of soaking instead of stoking? The bathhouse is waking, the first bather's voices echoing faintly. The attendant's hustle is fading into a sleepy hum, the wood smoke's tang lulling you. You're ready to meet the patrons, but the rhythm of brushes and the fire's crackle are heavy. Let's stick with these morning toilers a bit longer. You're easing out of the smoky furnace room, the attendant's hustle fading as you step into the warm room of the Ottoman bathhouse, where the air's a gentle, steamy hug and the marble glows under soft lamplight. The scent of rosewater and soap swells around you, and you're joining the first bathers of the day, merchants, scholars, and locals, who've trickled in for a morning soak. Their voices bounce off the tiled walls, a mix of laughter and gossip, and you're diving into the social buzz of this 17th century Istanbul hammam, where cleansing meets chatter. You're settling onto a warm marble bench, your pestimal towel snug, as a group of bathers lounges nearby. The mainstream fact is that Ottoman hammams, by the 17th century, were key social hubs, where people of all classes mingled to bathe, network, and swap news. Think of it as the local coffee shop, but steamier. A merchant's boasting about a silk deal, while a poet recites half a verse before splashing water at his friend. You grin, dodging a stray droplet. This is LinkedIn with better towels, you joke. Here's a quirky tidbit. Some bathers brought tiny clay tokens to reserve their favorite spot on the marble, like claiming a beach chair. You spot one etched with a crude star, tucked near a man's soap. You chuckle, imagining him glaring at anyone who dares sit there. Historians still argue whether hammams were true equalizers or if class divisions persisted. Did the elite get better service, or was the steam a great leveler? Either way, the vibe here's lively, everyone caught in the bathhouse's warm spell. You're leaning closer, catching snippets of gossip, a caravan delayed, a neighbor's scandalous wedding. The warm room's perfect for lingering, its heat loosening tongues as much as muscles. You think back to Yusuf stoking the furnace, his sweat making this possible. The bathers don't notice the work behind the steam, but you're starting to see the hammam as a stage, where daily life plays out. A man offers you a sip of watered-down wine from a clay cup, and you're tempted, but you're too cozy to move. Now you're watching two old friends debate politics, their voices rising until a splash cuts them off, sparking laughter. The marble's toasty under you, the steam softening the world's edges. You're wondering what deals or friendships are born here, in this foggy cocoon. The bathhouse feels like a heartbeat, pulsing with stories. The drip of water and the murmur of voices are lulling you, the rosewater scent heavy in your nose. You're ready to dive deeper into the bathing rituals, but the warm room's glow is making you drowsy. Let's soak in this social hum a bit more. You're drifting from the warm room's gossip-filled haze, the bathers' laughter fading as you step into the hot room of the Ottoman bathhouse, where steam curls like a living thing and the marble radiates heat. The air's thick with the scent of soap and eucalyptus, and you're about to experience the heart of the hammam's cleansing rituals, vigorous scrubs, splashing rinses, and a thorough polish that leaves you gleaming. This is 17th century Istanbul at its sudsiest, and you're diving into the gritty, slippery routines that define the bathhouse day. You're perched on a heated marble slab, the Göbek tar, sweat beading on your skin as an attendant, let's call her Zeynep, approaches with a coarse mitt and a bucket. The mainstream fact is that Ottoman bathing rituals, by the 17th century, involved a structured process, sweating to open pores, scrubbing with a kase mitt to slough off dead skin, and rinsing with warm and cool water to refresh. Zeynep's mitt looks like it could strip paint, and you brace yourself. This is exfoliation on steroids, you joke, as she starts scrubbing your arm like it's a rusty pot. Here's a quirky tidbit. Some bathers swore by adding a pinch of ground coffee to the soap, believing it boosted the scrub's purifying power. You chuckle, picturing Zeynep sprinkling espresso like a barista gone wild. Historians still argue whether these additives were cosmetic fads or rooted in early medical beliefs. Did coffee really help, or was it just a trendy placebo? Either way, you're wincing as Zeynep's mitt scours, leaving your skin pink and tingling, but weirdly alive. You're lying back now, the marble's heat seeping into your bones, as Zeynep dumps a bucket of warm water over you, the splash echoing off the dome. The rinse is followed by a lather of olive oil soap, her hands working it into a frothy cloud. You think back to the warm room's chatter. This is the real work, the cleanse that makes the gossip possible. The process is intense but rhythmic, like a dance of scrub, soap, rinse, repeat. You're starting to feel like a shiny new penny, though you're glad there's no mirror to confirm it. Now Zeynep's pouring cool water, a shock that makes you gasp but leaves you refreshed. The hot room's steam is relentless, but the ritual's flow, sweat, scrub, rinse, is oddly soothing. You're wondering about the bathers who came before, their skin polished by these same hands. Did they feel closer to purity, or just ready for a nap? The water's drip and the mitt's soft scrape are lulling you, the eucalyptus haze heavy. You're clean, but curious about what's next in this steamy world. Let's keep following the bathhouse's rhythms. You're still basking in the hot room's steamy glow, your skin tingling from Zeynep's scrub as the scent of olive oil soap lingers. The marble's warmth cradles you, but now you're shifting to a corner of the bathhouse where a new ritual unfolds. The air hums with the clink of metal and the faint splash of water, and you're watching a barber, his hands steady as a surgeon's, wielding a razor and shears. You're diving into the barber's role in the 17th-century Ottoman hammam, where haircuts and shaves are as much a part of the cleanse as the scrub, keeping Istanbul's bathers primped and polished. You're settled on a low stool, the barber, let's call him Mehmet, draping a cloth over your shoulders. The mainstream fact is that Ottoman bathhouses, by the 17th century, often included barbers who provided grooming services like beard trims, haircuts, and shaves, essential for personal hygiene and social status in a culture that valued a neat appearance. Mehmet's sharpening his razor with a leather strop, its rhythmic scrape oddly soothing. You eye the blade warily. Hope he's had his coffee, you joke, tensing as he leans in. Here's a quirky tidbit. Some barbers used a special hammam pomade made of beeswax and herbs, claiming it tamed even the wildest beards. You chuckle, imagining Mehmet hawking it like a modern influencer. Get that sultan glow. Historians still argue whether barbers were skilled professionals or just bathhouse multitaskers. Did they train like artisans, or was it a side gig for attendants like Yusuf? Either way, Mehmet's hands are quick, snipping your hair with a focus that puts you at ease. You're watching him now, trimming a merchant's beard with precise flicks, the clippings falling like tiny snowflakes on the marble. The barber's corner is a mini hub. Men chat about trade routes or a new mosque, their voices low under the dome's echo. You think back to the warm room's gossip. This feels more focused, like a grooming ritual that seals the bath's cleanse. Mehmet lathers your face with soap, his razor gliding smooth, and you're surprised how relaxing it is, like ASMR with a side of danger. Now he's rinsing your hair with a splash of rose water, the scent sharp and refreshing. The barber's work isn't just about looks, it's about feeling renewed, ready to face the city. You're wondering about the men who sat here, their beards shaped for weddings or markets. The clink of shears and the water's trickle are lulling you, the steam softening your thoughts. You're clean, trimmed, and drowsy, curious about the bathhouse's next routine. The barber's steady hands and the rosewater's tang are heavy, pulling you deeper. Let's keep exploring this grooming haven. You're slipping away from the barber's sharp razor and rosewater splashes, the hot room steam still clinging to your skin as you navigate through a tiled corridor to a quieter part of the Ottoman bathhouse. The air's softer here, scented with jasmine and the faint hum of women's voices echoing behind a heavy curtain. You're entering the women's section, a private sanctuary in the 17th-century Istanbul hammam, where daily routines mirror the men's but carry their own rhythm and rituals. It's time to explore how women bathe, gossip, and bond in their steamy haven. You're wrapping your pestle tighter, stepping into a warm room where women lounge on marble benches, their laughter mixing with the trickle of fountains. The mainstream fact is that Ottoman hammams, by the 17th century, had separate sections or hours for women, allowing them to bathe, socialize, and perform cleansing rituals in privacy, often with the same vigor as the men's side. A woman, let's call her Fatma, beckons you to sit, her hands glistening with soap. You settle in, dodging a stray splash. This is girls' night, Ottoman style, you joke, feeling the marble's gentle heat. Here's a quirky tidbit. Some women brought small mirrors to the hammam, not just for vanity but to check for evil eye marks after scrubbing. You chuckle, picturing Fatma squinting at her reflection, hunting for mystical blemishes. Historians still argue whether women's hammam visits were purely for hygiene or doubled as matchmaking hubs. Did mothers scout brides here, or was it just a break from household grind? Either way, the vibe's lively, the steam loosening tongues and shoulders. You're watching Fatma scrub with a kase mitt, her movements brisk but practiced, like Zainab's in the hot room. The women around her swap stories, a cousin's new baby, a market's inflated prices, their voices weaving a cozy tapestry. You think back to the men's warm room, its merchant banter. This feels more intimate, a space where women shed the outside world. Fatma offers you a clay bowl of henna, suggesting a quick hair rinse, and you're tempted, but the steam's making you too lazy to move. Now a younger woman sings softly, her voice bouncing off the dome, and others join in, their song a lullaby about a lost love. The cleansing's rigorous, scrub, rinse, lather, but it's punctuated by these moments of connection. You're struck by the hammam's dual role, a bath and a refuge. The water's drip and the women's murmurs are lulling you, the jasmine scent heavy in your nose. You're wondering what bonds or plans are forged here, in this foggy cocoon. Let's linger in this private steam a bit longer. You're easing out of the women's steamy sanctuary, the soft singing and jasmine scent lingering as you drift back to the main bathhouse, where the air's a mix of soap and something sweeter, maybe honey or fruit. You're in the cool room now, where bathers lounge between soaks, and your nose catches the aroma of sherbets and pastries being passed around. You're diving into the food and drink of this 17th century Ottoman hammam, a delightful pause in the bathing routine that turns the bathhouse into a cozy cafe of sorts, fueling Istanbul's social hum. You're settling onto a cushioned bench, the marble cool under your pestle, as a young attendant offers you a clay cup of tart pomegranate sherbet, its chill a shock after the hot room's heat. The mainstream fact is that Ottoman hammams, by the 17th century, often served light refreshments like sherbets, dried fruits, and pastries, allowing bathers to relax and socialize between scrubs and steams. You sip the sherbet, its tang waking your senses, and grab a flaky borek stuffed with cheese. Spa and snack bar? Sign me up, you joke, brushing crumbs off your towel. Here's a quirky tidbit. Some bathers believed rosewater sherbet could cool the soul, drinking it to ward off bad moods or even lovesickness. You chuckle, imagining a merchant downing a cup to forget a bad deal or a broken heart. Historians still argue whether these snacks were just for comfort or part of a health ritual. Did sherbets and sweets aid digestion after a steam, or were they purely indulgent? Either way, you're savoring the borek's buttery crunch, feeling like royalty. You're watching a group of bathers nearby, sharing a tray of dried apricots and pistachios, their chatter lively, a debate about a new coffee house or a cousin's wedding. The cool room's a perfect interlude, its air lighter than the hot room's fog, letting you linger without sweating buckets. You think back to Fatma's henna rinse, the men's barber corner, those rituals feel distant now, replaced by this simple pleasure. The attendant refills your sherbet, and you're struck by the hammam's knack for blending work and leisure. Now a woman offers you a sticky square of lokum, rose-flavored, and dusted with sugar. You pop it in, its sweetness melting as you lean back, the bench cushion soft against your spine. The food's not just fuel, it's a ritual, tying bathers together like the gossip in the warm room. You're wondering what stories these snacks carry, maybe a recipe passed down or a merchant's trade secret. The clink of cups and the murmur of laughter are lulling you, the sherbet's chill grounding you. You're ready for the next bathhouse ritual, but the cool room's treats are making you drowsy. Let's savor the sweet pause a bit more. You're drifting from the cool room's sweet sherbet and lokum haze, the clink of clay cups fading as you slip back into the hot room of the Ottoman bathhouse, where steam swirls and the marble pulses with heat. The air's thick with eucalyptus and the faint grunt of effort, and you're lying on the gobek tar, the central slab, as a masseur's strong hands knead your shoulders. You're diving into the massage rituals of this 17th century Istanbul hammam, where muscle relief is as essential as the scrub, turning bathers into blissed-out puddles. You're face down, the marble warm against your cheek, as the masseur, let's call him Ahmet, works out a knot you didn't know you had. The mainstream fact is that Ottoman hammams, by the 17th century, often included massage as a core service, with trained masseurs using firm pressure and stretching to ease tension and promote relaxation after the cleansing process. Ahmet's hands are relentless, pressing into your back like he's sculpting clay. You wince, then sigh. This guy could fix my Wi-Fi with those hands, you joke, melting into the slab. Here's a quirky tidbit. Some masseurs used warmed olive oil infused with mint, swearing it unlocked the body spirit. You chuckle, imagining Ahmet slathering you with what smells like a salad dressing gone rogue. Historians still argue whether these massages were purely therapeutic or tied to Ottoman beliefs about balancing bodily humors. Did they aim to heal, or just feel amazing? Either way, you're feeling your muscles unclench, the steam amplifying every need. You're glancing around, noticing other bathers getting similar treatment, their groans mixing with the water's trickle. Ahmet moves to your legs, stretching them with a tug that's half pain, half heaven. You think back to Zeynep's scrub, the barber's razor. These rituals all build to this moment, where the body's fully surrendered. The massage isn't just luxury, it's practical, prepping bathers for the city's grind. You're starting to see the hammam as a reset button, and Ahmet's the one pressing it. Now he's working your neck, his fingers finding spots you didn't know were sore, the minty oil slick on your skin. The hot room's steam feels softer now, like it's cradling you through the massage. You're wondering about the bathers who came before, merchants easing trade stress, mothers soothing childcare aches. Did they leave feeling reborn, or just ready for a nap? The slab's warmth and the rhythmic kneading are lulling you, the eucalyptus haze heavy. You're relaxed, but curious about the bathhouse's next chapter. Let's sink into this muscle-melting moment a bit longer. You're floating out of the hot room's muscle-melting massage. Ahmet's minty hands are fading memory as you drift back to the warm room of the Ottoman bathhouse, where the air's lighter but still steamy, scented with rosewater and something new, plucked strings. The marble benches are crowded now, the evening crowd bringing a lively hum of laughter and music. You're diving into the evening vibes of this 17th century Istanbul hammam, where lutes, songs, and merriment turn the bathhouse into a steamy social club, echoing the day's earlier gossip but with a festive twist. You're settling onto a bench, your pestimal damp from the hot room, as a musician strums a lute, its notes weaving through the steam like a warm breeze. The mainstream fact is that by the 17th century, Ottoman hammams often hosted evening gatherings where bathers enjoyed live music, poetry, or storytelling, transforming the space into a cultural hub after the day's cleansing rituals. A singer joins in, his voice low and soulful, crooning about a lost caravan. You lean back, grinning. This is Spotify, but with better acoustics, you joke, dodging a stray splash. Here's a quirky tidbit. Some bathers tossed coins into fountains for luck if the music moved them, believing it pleased the hammam spirits. You chuckle, picturing a merchant flinging a coin mid-lute solo, like he's tipping a supernatural DJ. Historians still argue whether these musical evenings were for pure entertainment or served deeper social functions, like strengthening community ties or even spying for palace gossip. Did the lute strum hide secrets, or was it just a vibe? You're watching the crowd now, men of all ages, from grizzled traders to young poets, clapping along or shouting requests. The warm room's glow softens their faces, the steam blurring edges like a dream. You think back to the women's section, their quiet songs, or the cool room's sherbet chats. This feels louder, looser, the music knitting everyone together. A man passes you a clay cup of watered wine, and you sip, its tang sharp after Ahmet's massage. The bathhouse is a stage now, and you're in the front row. Now the musician shifts to a livelier tune, and a few bathers start a playful dance, their towels flapping as they spin. Laughter erupts, and you're tempted to join, but the marble's too comfy. You're wondering what stories these songs carry, love, war, or just a good camel deal. The lute's twang and the fountain's trickle are lulling you, the rosewater's scent heavy. You're caught in the hammam's evening pulse, curious about what's next as the night deepens. Let's linger in this musical merriment a bit more. You're swaying to the fading lute melodies, the warm room's festive hum softening as you wander toward a noisier corner of the Ottoman bathhouse, where the ear's filled with high-pitched giggles and the splash of water. The marble's still warm underfoot, but now you're dodging a rogue wave from a gaggle of kids chasing each other around a fountain. You're diving into the family hours of this 17th-century Istanbul hammam, where children turn the steamy calm into chaotic playtime, adding a lively twist to the daily routines. You're settling on a bench, clutching your pestle to avoid a soaking, as a mother tries to corral her splashing son. The mainstream fact is that Ottoman hammams, by the 17th century, often had designated times for families, allowing parents to bathe with their children, who saw the bathhouse as a playground as much as a cleansing space. A girl nearby is tossing a small ball, narrowly missing your head, and you grin. This is a water park with better architecture, you joke, wiping a droplet from your brow. Here's a quirky tidbit. Some kids brought tiny wooden boats to float in the hammam's fountains, a mini fleet for bathtime battles. You chuckle, picturing a boy staging an epic naval showdown while his mother scrubs his hair. Historians still argue whether family hours were about hygiene or social bonding. Did parents bring kids to teach them bathing rituals, or was it just a way to keep them busy? Either way, the energy here's electric, the steam barely containing the chaos. You're watching a father now, patiently soaping his toddler's head while the kid squeals, splashing everyone nearby. The parents seem unfazed, chatting about market prices or a neighbor's new donkey, their voices weaving through the kids' shrieks. You think back to the women's section, its intimate calm, or the evening's lute music. This is messier, louder, but just as vital, a slice of family life in the hammam's embrace. You're starting to see why the bathhouse was everyone's hub, from poets to toddlers. Now a group of older kids starts a game, tossing wet cloths like soggy frisbees, and you duck to avoid a stray shot. The mothers laugh, half scolding, half joined in the fun. The marbles slick with water, the air alive with squeals and splashes, and you're caught in the joyful anarchy. You're wondering what these kids will remember, steamy playtime or the hammam's rituals. The fountain's gurgle and the children's giggles are lulling you, the steam's warmth heavy. You're ready for the next bathhouse chapter, but the family chaos is making you drowsy. Let's splash through this lively scene a bit more. You're dodging the last of the children's soggy cloth missiles, their giggles fading as you slip from the family chaos into a quieter nook of the Ottoman bathhouse, where the steam's gentler and the air carries a faint medicinal tang, maybe cloves or camphor. The marble's still warm, but the mood's shifted. Bathers here are soaking with purpose, some clutching herbal pouches or sipping murky teas. You're uncovering the hammam's role in 17th century Istanbul as a healing space, where water and steam were believed to cure ailments, blending daily routines with Ottoman medical traditions. You're settling beside a man soaking his feet in a basin of herb-infused water, his eyes closed like he's chasing relief. The mainstream fact is that Ottoman hammams, by the 17th century, were seen as therapeutic centers, where steam, massage, and herbal treatments were used to treat everything from joint pain to melancholy, rooted in humoral medicine that balanced the body's fluids. He breathes deeply, the steam curling around him, and you're curious what he's curing, maybe a bad back or just a bad mood. This is urgent care, hammam edition, you joke, sniffing the clove-scented air. Here's a quirky tidbit. Some bathers wore amulets filled with crushed mint during their soak, believing it warded off vapors that caused headaches. You chuckle, picturing a merchant jingling with mini charms like a human air freshener. Historians still argue whether these practices were grounded in science or folklore. Did herbs and steam actually heal, or was the hammam's warmth just a placebo with great PR? Either way, you're feeling the steam's soothing pull, like it's melting your own aches. You're moving to a corner where an attendant applies a clay mask to a woman's face, promising to draw out impurities. She's relaxed, chatting about a cough she's trying to shake. The hammam's medical role feels natural, an extension of Zeynep's scrubs or Ahmet's massages. You think back to the sherbet in the cool room, maybe even that was health food. The bathhouse is a clinic, a spa, a social club, all in one, and you're starting to see why it was a daily pilgrimage for so many. Now you're watching a man sip a bitter herbal brew, wincing but determined, as an attendant explains it'll cleanse his liver. The faith in these remedies is palpable, the steam amplifying their hope. You're wondering about the bathers who left feeling cured, or at least lighter. The water's trickle and the low murmur of healing talk are lulling you, the campher's tang heavy in your nose. You're curious about the hammam's broader role, but the medicinal warmth is making you drowsy. Let's linger in this healing haze a bit more. You're drifting from the medicinal nook's clove-scented calm, the healing murmurs fading as you weave through the Ottoman bathhouse's steamy corridors, where the air's heavy with soap and the day's energy is winding down. The marble's still warm, but the crowds have thinned, and you're trailing a weary group of attendants as they begin the night shift's closing duties. This is the 17th century Istanbul hammam at its quietest, and you're diving into the gritty, mop and bucket routines that tidy up after a long day of scrubs, songs, and splashes. You're following Yusuf again, his tunic damp from a day of furnace stoking, now armed with a broom and a bucket of soapy water. The mainstream fact is that Ottoman hammams, by the 17th century, required meticulous nightly cleaning to maintain their gleaming marble and hygienic reputation, with attendants scrubbing floors, draining basins, and restocking supplies for the next dawn. Yusuf sweeping puddles left by splashing kids, his broom's rhythmic swish blending with the drip of a leaky faucet. This guy deserves a medal, you joke, dodging a stray soap bubble. Here's a quirky tidbit. Some attendants sprinkled salt on the marble before scrubbing, believing it banished lingering spirits from the day's bathers. You chuckle, picturing Yusuf tossing salt like he's warding off bathhouse ghosts. Historians still argue whether these rituals were spiritual or practical. Did salt help clean, or was it just a superstition to keep workers focused? Either way, you're impressed by the effort. The hammams shine a testament to their unseen grind. You're in the hot room now, where another attendant scours the Gobek tar, erasing traces of Zainab's scrubs and Ahmet's minty massages. The steam's fading, but the marble's still toasty, and you notice a pile of soggy pestimals being hauled to a laundry vat. You think back to the lute music, the sherbet trays, the kids' chaos, all that life reduced to these quiet chores. The attendants work fast, their chatter low, something about a late-night kebab run. You're starting to see the hammam as a living thing, needing care like a giant, steamy pet. Now you're in the cool room, where an attendant polishes brass faucets, their gleam catching the last lamplight. The furnace is cooling, the air fresher, and the bathhouse feels empty, almost solemn. You're wondering about Yusuf's day, from dawn fires to midnight mops. Does he love this place or just endure it? The broom's swish and the water's soft gurgle are lulling you, the soap's faint tang heavy. You're curious about the hammam's bigger role in the city, but the night shift's calm is making you drowsy. Let's linger with these closing duties a bit more. You're slipping out of the quiet night shift, Yusuf's broom swish fading as you step outside the Ottoman bathhouse into the cool Istanbul evening, where the city's pulse, minarets against a starry sky, the distant call of a muezzin, grounds you. The scent of soap clings to your skin, but now you're zooming out, tracing the hammam's role in the economic web of 17th-century Ottoman life. This isn't just a steamy spa, it's a commercial hub, humming with coin, trade, and the labor of folks like Zeynep and Ahmet. You're diving into the bathhouse's place in the city's bustling market. You're standing in a nearby bazaar, where merchants hawk soap, towels, and rosewater, their stalls lit by flickering lanterns. The mainstream fact is that Ottoman hammams, by the 17th century, were economic engines, generating revenue through entry fees, services like massages and shaves, and supporting local trades, soap makers, towel weavers, even sherbet vendors. The bathhouse you've been wondering employs dozens, from Yusuf's furnace work to the lute player's tunes, and its coin flows to suppliers across Istanbul. You finger a bar of olive oil soap, its price steep. This stuff's pricier than my coffee, you joke, dodging a pushy vendor. Here's a quirky tidbit. Some hammams issued clay tokens as loyalty passes, letting regular bathers skip the entry fee line. You chuckle, imagining a merchant flashing his token like a VIP card at a modern gym. Historians still argue whether hammams were primarily profit-driven or served as charitable endowments. Did they enrich owners or subsidize the poor's baths? Either way, you're feeling the economic ripple, from the wood Yusuf burns to the borak you munched. You're wandering the bazaar now, passing a weaver selling pestimals, their patterns echoing the bathhouse's tiles. The hammam's needs, fuel, herbs, clay cups, keep these stalls alive, and its bathers, flush from a good soak, spend freely. You think back to the women's section, the barber's blade, the healing teas, all costing coin, all feeding the city's pulse. The bathhouse is a microeconomy, a hub where labor and luxury meet. You're starting to see why it was a daily draw, not just for steam but for status and deals. Now you're at a coffeehouse nearby, where hammam goers haggle over trade after their baths, their skin still rosy from Zeynep's scrub. The bathhouse's wealth isn't just in fees but in the networks it fosters. Merchants, poets, mothers, all trading more than soap. You're wondering about the workers, like Yusuf, scraping by on their wages. The bazaar's hum and the faint jingle of coins are lulling you, the rosewater's tang lingering. You're curious about the hammam's lasting impact, but the city's evening glow is making you drowsy. Let's linger in this economic web a bit more. You're stepping away from the bazaar's lively hum, the clink of coins and scent of rosewater fading as you find yourself back inside the Ottoman bathhouse, now quiet under a starry Istanbul night. The marbles cool, the steam gone, and you're standing in the warm room, its tiled walls glowing faintly from a single lamp. You're reflecting on the hammam's lasting mark on 17th-century Ottoman life, a steamy thread woven into the fabric of culture, community, and daily rhythm. This is the final soak, tying together the routines and echoes of a place that shaped an empire's soul. You're leaning against a marble bench, the same one where merchants gossiped and sherbets were sipped, feeling the weight of the day's stories. The mainstream fact is that Ottoman hammams, by the 17th century, were more than bathhouses. They were cultural pillars, fostering social bonds, health practices, and economic networks that defined urban life across the empire. From Yusuf's furnace to Zainab's scrubs, every routine you've seen built a legacy that outlasted sultans, with some hammams still standing today. You smile, joking, this place is tougher than my local gym sauna. Here's a quirky tidbit. Some Ottomans believed hammam steam carried prayers to the heavens, lingering in the dome like a holy mist. You chuckle, imagining Fatma's henna rinse doubling as a divine hotline. Historians still argue whether hammams were primarily secular or sacred spaces. Did they thrive for hygiene and fun, or as extensions of religious charity? Either way, you're struck by their reach, touching everyone from kids splashing fountains to poets strumming lutes. You're wandering the empty hot room now, the Göbektar silent, its warmth a memory of Ahmet's massages and healing teas. The bathhouse was a mirror of Ottoman life, diverse, communal, resilient. You think back to the women's songs, the barber's razors, the chaotic family hours. Each moment, from dawn fires to night mops, wove people together, making the hammam a heartbeat of Istanbul. You joke, forget Wi-Fi. This was the real social network. The lamps flicker cast shadows on the tiles, each a story of steam and sweat. You're grateful for this glimpse into a world where cleansing was connection, where routines were rituals. The bathhouse's legacy is its ability to endure, in stone and memory. The night stillness and the marble's cool touch are lulling you, the echo of water drops a gentle whisper. You're ready to drift, the hammam's warmth a quiet gift. As the lamp's glow softens, the bathhouse settles into silence, its domes cradling the night like a gentle hand. The city outside hums low, its minarets fading into the stars, while the marble holds the warmth of countless days. You feel the routines, scrubs, songs, splashes, melt into a distant hum, their stories safe within these walls. The air's calm, carrying only the faintest trace of soap and steam, guiding your thoughts to rest. Let the tile's coolness soothe you, the shadows blur, and the world slip away. The hammam's work is done, and so is yours. Sink deeper, breathe slow, and rest. Good night.